Welcome to How You Grievin, a podcast, and I'm your host, Malcolm. Joining me today is the sharp-witted storyteller with a natural gift for turning everyday moments into something unforgettable. He first explored storytelling as a freelance photographer, which led him into spoken word poetry, which is one of my favorite things. Born and raised in Cincinnati, Ohio, he's on a mission to live loudly and love boldly and be unapologetically himself. The comedian, the poet, and the TikToker, Goosby.
I'm weak. And my cat.
Tell everybody your cat name.
Her name is Doja. She's shy. Her name is
Over there with
Doja. Doja Cat. But her real name, we're not gonna tell everybody. Her real name is Doja Rat. But we call her Doja.
what is Doja Rat?
You know, cats like rats.
There's a story. I got a story with my cat and a mouse. But anyway, that ain't going on this episode. But thank you for being here. I'm happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
I slid in your DMs
You did.
and got you here.
You did. But not let's not let the people be confused. It wasn't like a slide like
Oh,
what's
that
up,
could.
shorty, what's up, shorty, what's up, shorty. Or was it? Did I not read the room right? I feel like it was like a friendly,
Wow.
like, hey, what's up?
It was a friendly, hey, what's up?
Okay, okay, yeah. But when you say you got to be careful because when you say I slid in his DMs, people gonna be like, people don't
But no,
slide and be, friendly. It was
that's what I
friendly.
call everybody. I say that to
Okay,
everybody. I be like, I slid in your DMs.
okay. Period.
The slide is the slide. Okay.
A slide is a slide.
Yeah. You took it as friendly, right?
Of course. That's why I wanted to clarify.
Okay. Just making sure. Just
And it's
making
still
sure.
friendly, right?
Why you keep what?
Anywho, moving forward, a friendly slide. And then what? And then what?
A friendly slide. A friendly slide. All right. So quick. If you know somebody or you yourself is experiencing grief, make sure you like, share, and subscribe this episode and all the other episodes. Okay. You ready to get started?
I'm ready.
How you grieving?
I don't know. It's interesting because I mentioned this to you previously. Like, I should consciously know how I'm grieving. I have things to grieve about, but I don't know if I'm doing it right. I don't know if my way is different from everybody else, and how they grieve. But there are moments where I can see something on social media or see something walking down the street and it touches me in a way because it reminds me of a past loved one, whether it's still here or no longer here, and I grieve in moments, um, but I don't know if I've ever or if I will ever fully grieve something and have a need not to grieve it again, if that makes sense. Like I grieve in micro doses, but based off of reminders and not like I can go to a funeral tomorrow. Somebody will, unfortunately be dead and cry at the funeral. But tomorrow I'm going to work. Tomorrow I'm like moving on with my life. But I might scroll or I might smell something that reminds me of a meal that was cooked and I grieve in that moment. But then it's like, all right, well, what's next, boo? So I don't know. I think I grieve in micro doses, but I don't allow myself, or maybe it's just not who I am to like fully release at a single moment. But I think that's how most people think about grieving. Or I could be wrong. I'm not sure.
Huh. So there isn't like a specific way to do this, right? And I think most people do think there is a specific way or you're supposed to do it this way until you're actually going through it. So, like, who and or what are you grieving? Is it like a loved one, like a lover, or is it like a past? Like, is a family member? Like, who you grieving?
These niggas, these niggas. But no. So fun fact: I left home. I was away for about 7 or 8 years. I moved back home because my dad was transitioning. So I made the decision to move home. He ended up transitioning maybe a month after I moved home. And this is the guy who raised me, right? Not my biological dad, but my
Yeah.
dad. The following year, my biological dad transitioned. So imagine having it's like the best of both worlds, like being connected to somebody who is blood. So there's this innate connection, although he wasn't in my life, but then also having this man who chose to be in my life and did a great job at showing up in my life. But to have them both transition within a year, it, if I'm being completely honest, is something that I'm just like, universe, like why? Um, and I get sad about it often, but I feel like I should be crying more or I should be talking about it more. I don't really talk about it. And when I do talk about it, you see how I just refer to them as these niggas. Um, but
Yes.
but that's something that comes up daily for me. So those are some of the people who I grieve. Um, I just don't know if I think the way that I was raised and just how I moved through life is like, all right, what's next? All right, this happened. Like, what's next? And for me, life goes on, and I would love to believe they wouldn't want me to be like moping and sad. Like, I have a sister. Every other day on Facebook, she's like crashing out. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna do without my daddy. I'm like, girl, he's been gone 5 years.
Mhm.
But of course, I wouldn't say that to her. I hope she listens to this podcast, but I hope she like skips over this part. Um, but for me, like, I just don't grieve that way. But if I smell food or like if we talk about spaghetti, like, or if I cook eggs, I think about my dad. He was the first person who taught me how to cook eggs, and there's a whole story behind that. Him learning how to cook eggs because he was in Boy Scouts, and then I met the love of my life, which is at this point a what do they call it, a a metaphor, because we ain't together.
Yeah.
But once we got together, like he taught me how to cook eggs, so I connect, and we no longer together. So part of me is like grieving a breakup with him. But there's moments where it's just like I could be sad about it, or and I do get emotional and cry. But for me, it's just like I feel grieving is best when I can appreciate. Me grieving is like the appreciation. It's not that this person isn't here anymore, but it's holding on to those moments that made our relationship special while
Mhm.
they were there. I probably said a lot, but
Yes, that's what it is. It's just holding on to those important moments or special moments and the things that really like shape you or shaped you into who you are today, like cooking eggs.
I
And to
know,
some
right?
people, like it's so simple, but it's important and it's special.
And it's so
And
fucking
I'm
crazy.
curious.
Can I cuss?
Yes.
I'm gonna say
Yes.
this, and I want to dive into your curiosity. But it's so interesting because I had met this dude off of a dating app,
Mhm.
and he was in town celebrating his friend's birthday, and he sent me a text. And he was like, "Hey, what's up?" We did that whole little thing. I'm like, "What you doing for the day?" And he was like, "Oh, we about to get together and cook brunch for my friend." And I'm like, "What are you making?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm making eggs." So it's moments like that, like random moments. It's like, oh shit. And it sent me down like this whole little memory. Like I don't even remember the last time I made eggs. So it's just like,
Wow.
am I avoiding certain things? I love eggs. I make the best eggs. The best man told me how to make the best eggs, but I don't do that often. So it goes back to like, am I even grieving properly? But anywho, what's your curiosity?
My curiosity is how you make eggs.
Oh, it depends. What kind of egg you want? You want it poached? You want sunny side up? You want scrambled?
Let's go with scramble.
Scrambled. So I think a lot of people do eggs all the way wrong. Sorry, Dad, love you, but um, I was able to improve on his design since he taught me how to make
Okay.
eggs. So
Mm-hmm.
I obviously cracked the egg, put it in the bowl,
Yeah.
scramble it, scramble it, scramble it. But I don't season my eggs until about halfway through, right? So once you scramble it, scramble it, scramble it, and you can add like heavy whipping cream if that's your thing. But like as far
Mm.
as like salt, which is the most important thing, you don't add salt in the scramble. You just don't. You don't. It does something with the protein. It breaks down the protein, and your eggs gonna be runny. They're not gonna be fluffy, right? So you throw them in the
Huh.
skillet. You let them sit for a little bit. You let them chill for a little bit, and then you flip it and you toss it, and then they become fluffy. And then your shorty be like, "Damn, these eggs good." So that's how you cook eggs.
So do you take the pan like off of the
The
eye?
last
Like
at the end, towards the end, you cook it off the heat.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
at the end, like close to like when you was like, oh, these eggs almost done. When you feel like that, you take it off, and then you know, yeah.
Hmm.
Not you trying to see if I can cook eggs. Not you trying to see how good of a man my dad was. He was a good man. I know how to cook eggs. I know how to chop an onion too.
Okay. Onion chopper. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Uh how was Father's Day for you?
That's actually a great question. I didn't know that it was Father's Day until I got on social media. I cried, of course. Um, but it wasn't a sadness. It was more so like a remembrance. Like my biological father, we didn't have the best relationship, obviously. Since I moved home, I'm closer to his side of the family. And I'm 36 for reference. But when I'm around them, it's like I've been around them my entire life. So for me, it's a little bit sad, for lack of a better word, because he isn't here.
Mhm.
And this is like within the last 4 years that I've gotten to know my dad's side of the family. I've only seen my
Wow.
dad with his side of the family one time. And now I'm spending so much time around my dad's side of the family, and him not being here is so crazy, especially because my grandmother, who's always been in my life, shout out to Black women, she's always been in my life. She introduces me to my family members, and every time they be like, "Oh, you," they call my dad Weaver. "Oh, you Weaver's son," and they point out these things and these characteristics as if they aren't surprised that I'm his son. It's like, "Oh yeah, I can see that," but for me, it's just like I don't know much about him, you know.
Yeah.
But Father's Day is always interesting for me.
That's cool though. That's good that you get to experience, his side of the family.
Yeah,
So that's
I'm
pretty
thankful.
dope.
I'm thankful
And
for
you
it.
get to learn things. Like you'll eventually like start, if you haven't already, start learning things about him that you even know y'all had in common or you just didn't know, right?
Yeah,
That's
I've come
cool.
to I've come to know I'm my daddy's son. I'm my daddy's son. I'm my daddy's son. Let me show you this real quick. Do you mind?
Yes, come on.
So my dad once, and it's so crazy, like, or not so crazy, but so interesting how you can have compassion for people who didn't necessarily show up how you wanted them to show up.
Mm.
So when my dad transitioned, like I can count on two hands. I'm 36. I can count on two hands how many times I've seen my biological dad, which is crazy in 36 years. But I've always loved him. But anywho, I say that to say, once he transitioned, my grandmother asked me like, "Would you help me clean out his apartment?" And I was like, of course, grandma, I got you, I got you." I found a photo that he had on like a bookshelf of me, which was like, "Oh, that's cute. ain't call me, but you at least saw my face every day.
Yeah.
Um, but I found this photo, and it says, what does that say? Can you read it?
An act of kindness in the rain.
Yeah. So for me, and it's a basically a photo of my dad walking with the umbrella and holding it over somebody who didn't have an umbrella.
Yeah.
Um, and for me, I would have loved him to show up in my life like that, but unfortunately, he didn't. But seeing this just reminds me of the type of person that he is, and I can see myself in him through this photo because I would do the same thing. Um, I don't know how we got there, but being around my family allows me to see myself in my dad and learn more about who I am. But stuff like that, it's just like wow. So I'm appreciative.
That's dope. I like that picture though. Because sometimes when I'm driving, I'm like, I really just want to get him this umbrella that I got.
Yeah,
But I haven't gotten that far yet. But if I was on the street walking, I would do that. So I know you said you grieving these niggas. And I know on TikTok you said something. I gotta scroll down in my notes, but
about how the love of my life hurt my feelings and I was crying.
pretty much.
Or which one? I be saying a lot on TikTok, but what?
No,
What you?
it was your last one. You had said on TikTok, how do I get rid of the love of my life for the love of my life?
I did. I said that, and I meant it too. I meant it. For me, it's just like I really do, and I say a lot of things. So I love to say things where it makes you wonder, like, is he serious or what does he mean by this? But I be serious all the time. Um, and when I said that, it was me trying to get over somebody for somebody new, right? Which is the obvious. But then also, like, how do I choose me? You know, because
Mhm.
I really do feel like I'm the love of my life. If I'm being completely honest, I get to love my way or love myself in ways that people can't or may not know how to. I get to be gentle with myself. I
Mhm.
give to give myself second chances. Like the thing that you would want from the love of your life, like I get to be that for me. But yeah, like
Mm.
how do I get over one person to possibly be with somebody who I'm more compatible with? Really, that's why I said
You
that.
go through grief.
Yeah, which
You
is
got
why in a following video, I was saying how my feelings was hurt and I was crying. And I was on the phone, and it was a real story. Like I tried to make it funny, but my feelings really were hurt. But I called my friend, and I'm like, I'm done with this dude. I'm done with this dude. And she's like, how many more times you gonna say that? So we'll see where that goes. But I think our relationship is probably something I should grieve. But I think me being on TikTok is a form of grief. Like it's a release for me because in a relationship I would never show up like this. But I'm so happy when I do it, when I post these random videos. I don't care if it get like 3 views. I really don't. But just being able to release, which is why I enjoy poetry, which is why I love photography, like capturing moments and being able to share it and not have to hold on to it, you know. But yeah, but more about that. Why you asked that question about how do I get over the love of my life or the love of my life?
because I saw it this morning and it was interesting, and I had it in a specific section to ask you, but somehow we got there sooner.
We're here now,
uh,
baby.
yeah, because also like we're talking about like how to grieve relationships specifically, but we're also obviously we're going to talk about death as well. But like I want to focus on relationships and how people grieve relationships because I'm curious because as I scroll throughout the day, I always see like either we broke up or we together. You never see the like, okay, so y'all broke up. Now we just seen you move on to another nigga. But people don't actually show or talk about that actual process. Like everybody out here giving relationship advice, but nobody's talking about like, I really gotta sit in and grieve this nigga that I just spent a year, 6 months, or whatever with, and you just sitting here like, ain't I don't see nothing to help me with this part. You know?
Right. And you know what's so interesting 'cause about that? I've been single for 4 years, technically, but I've never posted any of the people I've been in a relationship with on social media. Never, because of that. Like I think a part of me, and I'll take you through a timeline of my relationships. I think it's actually interesting because I really shouldn't be as open to love as I am.
Hmm.
But I've never posted a relationship on social media for that same reason. And sitting here now, I'm like, I'm glad I didn't. Like, I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I really can come on social media and say whatever and people not really know who I'm talking about. But my last relationship was with an influencer. So he has over 500,000 followers across social media, right? So my whole thing was like, one, I love you. So I'm not going to, I would love to share you, but that didn't happen. But I'm not gonna also bash you because I don't want the beehive coming for me, right?
Hmm.
Um, but my relationship before that was this person who was really popular in the city. My very first relationship, same thing, and I've always felt like I had to protect these people, although I feel like they probably did me wrong or like treated me like shit or like held me in this box. It's so crazy how people can be so controlling. And I'd be like, yes, daddy, okay. Um, or that's how it
Yes.
was. It's like, okay, daddy, okay.
Yeah.
Um, but I've never felt safe or comfortable enough to talk about my love for men specifically on social media, especially men who, for the lack of a better word, have influence or are powerful. Um, but I've wanted to, and I also want to know too, like, why y'all break up? And who is this new dude? Like, but I'm also the same way. Like, if you post on social media and you're like, RIP to my bestie, how did bestie die? Like, I want to know that too. Like, how did bestie die? Like, come on now. Come on now. What was it? What was it? What was it? Did
Give
they
me the
slip and
tea. What
fall?
happened?
It could be a slip and fall. If it was a slip and fall, just say that. But we're gonna think the worst because you aren't telling us. Was it a slip and fall? How did bestie die? But yeah, I feel you on that. Like, why y'all break up? And how are you getting through it? Because I don't have many people to walk me through. I have great friends, but I do keep a lot to myself. And then when I do talk about shit, I'm always making a joke about it. But I go through moments where it's just like, damn,
Hmm.
this is heavy, you know? Um, but I'll be wanting to know.
Yes, like because grieving is real. You're either happy or you're sad or you're mad.
Yeah.
Or you texting. You
Hmm.
texting them saying, damn, what's that? I
Yeah.
miss you, nigga.
And
So
you know
like
I
it's
miss
just a
you.
whirlwind.
And you know I
It's
miss
an emotional roller coaster. Vivian Green. She said it.
you. Period. Yeah. But I think what I've learned is things take
And it's
time.
crazy. If you're the ones that's no good for you, they'll respond back.
And you know what's so interesting? Whenever I talk about my exes, I think that because they have like my first ex, horrible. When I say horrible, horrible human being to me in that moment. But I accepted it. I chose to be a
Yeah.
ride or die. I did that. And it took me a while to get over that. It always takes me a while to get over people. Because I'd be wanting to try. Like I'd be wanting to try, be wanting to try. But at some point you have to let go. You have to take accountability. Um, and you got to be real. You know, I was reading something and don't remember what it was, but they were basically saying how when grieving a relationship in particular, a romantic relationship, or missing somebody, you often think about the good times. Like, oh, I miss this, I miss that. But if I sit and think about the things that weren't so pleasant, then it's just like, do I really miss this person? But it's funny how the mind works. Like the mind and the body, like you don't want to be stressed out. You don't want to be in flight mode. So the mind will be like, oh, but XYZ, XYZ, and all these XYZs is these good things. But did you forget that dude bust your windows out your car because of Jasmine Sullivan? Like Jasmine Sullivan played and he did it. He was the one who busted windows out your car. He was the one who called your mama a fat ass bitch. He was the one who, well, we don't think about those when we miss people and we miss the good times more than like the full picture or the reality of it. So I try to think about that when I am like, should I go back? No, windows are expensive. Tires being slash cost money.
It's so crazy because you definitely do think about the good times, and then you be like, but wait a minute, that nigga cheated on me. You
You know what's
or
so
like,
fucking? I'm a dumbass bitch sometimes. I was talking to somebody. I probably shouldn't say this. I was talking to somebody, a real cool dude. Long story short, the dude ended up having a baby on me. And you know what I said? I don't mind being a babysitter. I'll babysit the baby. I'll babysit the baby. It was just like, no, I don't want to babysit your baby that you had on me on the side. But, you live and you learn.
I know two people that experienced that.
I mean,
Women
but,
though.
but why not be a stepdad, right? And then I think about my dad. Like my dad raised somebody else's kid. Like I can do it. Like yeah. The justification is wild, but
So, what did you think grief was like? Because I know we spoke the other day. So, like, before you started grieving, or once you realized you was grieving, like, what did you think this mess was? Because I call it mess.
me being human, me slowing down. I think because I do keep it pushing, or I try to make the best out of situations. I don't allow myself to be defeated, and it felt like defeat. It felt like a weakness. It felt like nobody would get it or understand because again, who cries over making eggs, right? um so it felt like that, but once I found myself in it, it felt good. you know I felt heard even if I was by myself, or when I'm having conversations with my friends. I didn't feel alone. I think grieving is a very intimate thing. I don't think people look at it as that, but grieving is very
Mhm.
intimate. So being able to share it, not to be a burden on anybody, which I think people probably feel grieving is. It's like, damn, bitch, daddy been dead 5 years. Why you still, can't get up in the morning?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's nice to be able to share it with somebody. Not for them to hold it, but to hug you through it. Um, but it feels good. Like even not in death, but like grieving breakups or relationships, it feels good to release and feel seen and not hold on to it. I think that's what grief is for. Like it's like, okay, you don't have to hold on to it.
Hmm.
Some things will always be with you, like those good memories. But the 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 point where it gets heavy, I think the beauty in grief is just like, all right, well, you can let it go. It's always nice to have a friend to help you through it, but by yourself is even better. Like laying in the bed at whatever hour and crying, I live. I love it.
I understand that. And I feel like that's maybe where people mess up because they don't want to sit and actually be to themselves and really understand, like, okay, like if I'm having this experience and if I'm grieving, I need to know how I'm progressing as well. So, like, I need to just sit and be and feel. And it's pretty dope. Like, I'll tell you a quick short story. So, I had recently moved back to Atlanta, and where I'm at now, this is home, right? But also, my sister used to live here when that passed. So, like, I've been here for a few months. So the other day, I was going to the basement because I just came from a trip, and I was putting my suitcase in the basement. But like, I walked by the room and I was like, oh shit, she used to be here. Like, it had finally hit me that day because I just been going and going and going and going. And then I was like, huh. And it was a beautiful experience because you have memories that pop up, right? Shit that you don't normally think about. Um, and it's dope. But then I just sat with it instead of being like, well, let me call somebody and get over this. I don't have to sit with this,
Did
I just
you
was like,
when you were sitting with it, did you cry or what was it like for you?
I almost cried. But like, it's kind of hard. It's not hard for me to cry now, but like, my tears be like, all right, nigga.
Was it more of a good feeling? Like did you feel like instead of I think there's two or there's multiple sides of grief, but like sometimes you
Mhm.
grieve and it's like boo hoo, which is fine. But sometimes you grieve and you smile. Was it like one of like on
Yes.
what side was it like a smile or was it like a
So it was a smile and it was a damn as
yeah,
well. It was like a smile, a damn, and a, oh shit, this used to be your room and you're not here and I'm here, full circle, kind of.
yeah.
So it was like, it wasn't like necessarily sad tears. It was just like, I guess it just was another experience of grief.
So can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How you grieving?
Now I'm telling you, like, Bunna Murray or Wendy Williams gonna try to sue me. Is it like,
They well, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. I was about to say
or
something so inappropriate.
Kevin Hunter gonna come after me because I'm definitely like saying, "How you great?"
They not. They not. If anything, you keeping Wendy alive.
I have to like Wendy's my baby, but it's like homage to Wendy secretly. Nobody knows, but you know, and everybody else.
I see the
Um,
purple. I see the purple.
the purple is Kia, my sister.
Period.
Um, we might be in the same boat of grief. I'm grieving, and I don't want to tell nobody this, but now since you asked, I have to tell. Uh, a relationship and like letting go of a family member as well. So like, I'm heavy. I got shit going on too, you know. But
Do you
it's life.
do, do you
Not me trying to sum it up and you still asking questions.
it's a different question. It's a different question, boo.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Um
Go ahead.
do you one thing that I do know is just like I value friendships and relationships more. I want to know more. I want to be invested in who people actually are as opposed to who I think they are.
Hmm.
So I'm a little bit more intentional about my relationships. But do you fear or do you think about like losing people who are still here?
Not anymore. When my sister first died, I did, but then my grandmother died, and then my other grandmother died, and then people just kept dying. So I was like, oh well, shit. So when this all first happened, it took me a while to get close to people. Like, I was very standoffish, and people thought I was like not mean, but they just thought I was like, too good because I would literally just stay in my lane and be like, I don't need no new friends. Or like, we really don't need to have a conversation. Like, it was very like straight to the point, like boom, boom, boom. Um, Now let's be friends. Let's do this. Let's do that. We all gonna die one day. Like, I'm cool with all of this. Like, we can have conversations about death. Um, yeah. So I don't fear that anymore. I know people are going to die. Um, and like, also when that all happened, like, it made me specifically not scared of death for myself, which is crazy. But like, ultimately, like, I'm not scared to die.
We don't
Of
have to
course, I
talk
have
about
to
that.
weigh.
We don't have to talk about that now, but I do at some point. I would love to have a conversation around. the moment people realize that they aren't immortal. Like,
Yeah.
because I used to be afraid of my death. Like, oh, you mean to tell me I'm gonna die? Like,
Hmm.
oh shit. We don't have to talk about that now, but because you brought that up, I think that's interesting. I think
Yeah.
there's always this realization that most people have. It's like, oh shit, you mean to tell me I'm gonna die one day?
Yeah. It's like, yeah, nigga. Like, what did you think?
Yeah. But my belief is like, even if you go to like the science or whatever I tell myself, like energy can't be created or destroyed. It just transforms. So we'll just probably be an ant or something, or a butterfly.
I think we go through a few different stages of life. I think we go through a few different stages.
I can agree with that.
I think we start
But
small
again,
and end
that's
big.
probably a conversation for another time. All right, my cat
That could
wanted
also
wanted to
be
be on
too deep
camera.
for the
He
people.
wanted to be on camera so bad. Say
She
hi.
want to be in it.
Right.
She is
When this one right here, when she go, I'm gonna hoop and holler like a black lady at church. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but anywho,
we're gonna have a funeral.
we are, and I'm
We're
gonna
gonna have a
invite
funeral
everybody.
service.
It's gonna be the biggest funeral ever.
I
She's gonna
can't.
be so cool. We gotta make sure her hair.
So I can't, but I can. Like I think that's beautiful, actually.
You're invited.
People don't animals is a whole nother topic. I recently like my podcast that's airing soon is about this lady who inherited her dead father's dog. Like animals are a whole nother topic of grief. Are you familiar with the 5 stages of grief?
Enlighten me.
Depression, denial. But before I keep going, I added one
Ooh.
because I
Well,
think there's a
be, before you add one, tell me what they are, and then let me know what you
mhm.
added.
Okay. All right. So depression, denial, acceptance, anger, and bargaining are the
Hmm.
five
What'd
that
you add?
this man created. Suicidal ideation.
Damn, you added
Right.
that.
I
You added
added that.
that.
Yes.
That is actually fucking genius. I mean, not not that I'm supporting that, but I mean, I feel like if you want to take yourself out, why not? Um, but I think that is a thought, especially with like a romantic partner. Like a lot of even studies show that like people who have been together for a long time, if the wife dies or the husband dies, the wife or the husband is gonna die like 3 months later or something like that.
Yo.
They can't bear the thought of existing without a person or the like it's just so I that's actually really intuitive of you.
Heartbreak is real. I don't think people understand how real heartbreak is.
Heartbreak is
Like
transformative. it's it
like once you
it
have a broken heart,
yeah,
it'll change you.
it will. I agree. I've always my thing is with relationships, I think I said this earlier, like literally there should not be, or I won't say there should not be, but I'm impressed with myself that I'm still so open with to love and receiving love because I have been through some of the most treacherous relationships, like from people trying to kill
Hmm.
me to me being in relationships with people who were in relationships with people who were in relationships to just like, you know, but one reason, he can relate. One thing that I will say, which is why I don't talk bad about my exes. And at some point, I'm sure at some point I'll go into detail about these relationships. But for me, because I was so broken down and so just like suicidal at points, which is you saying, I'm like, no, that's it's real as hell. Um,
Hmm.
but it transformed me in a way because I always knew that I had a choice. Like I always knew that I could choose to be a sad ass, you know, which is cool, which is fun, which is human, which is it feels good to be sad sometimes. Like it feels good to be in whatever emotion you are in, you know, at times. But for me, I'm like, all right, well, what do I need to learn from this? Like, what can I? It might take me 7 years to figure it out.
Yeah.
I might have called
Hmm.
this dude 6 years straight and he ain't answer, send me the voicemail. But that 7th year, I figured it out, or like you know, I always figure it out. But when I look back at my past relationships, as fucked up as they may have been, it's like, all right, well, I learned this. Like, I can carry this with me to the next, you know, whatever. Um, but yeah, relationships, romantic relationships, people you think you're gonna spend the rest of your life with, and it don't go down like that. It will change you for sure, but you get to choose how it changes you. I believe, or I know.
Yeah, you
Ultimately,
do.
ultimately, yes. I believe we
Yeah, not
all.
right away.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna put a time period on it because I don't think you can put a time period on grief. But I think ultimately we always have a choice.
Hmm.
Ultimately, yeah. But when you
Hmm.
don't know something and it's a new experience, it's hard to make a choice off of like not having knowledge of it. It's like, oh shit, what is this? I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna go to what I know. And sometimes that's like sad and wallowing. But once you know, like they say, once you know better, you do better. Eventually
Ooh.
we all have a choice, I believe. Yeah.
Once you know better, you do better. So I know I had sent you that little interlude I just got on Tanking the Bangers album. That song called or the interlude. I don't know what to call it, but
Sometimes
the
you got
poem
a
is
good poem with how you sitting in your car by your goddamn self. Or she said something like that, but I'm like, yeah, yeah.
yes, yes. Poets write poems. It's in the ink for me. That's my favorite part. That's my favorite part. So with you being a poet and writing poems, we got to talk about it
Let's do it.
because it's important.
You know,
So go ahead.
no, I want to hear. I want to hear you. I can talk all day.
I know. I've noticed. It's not a bad thing. No, it's not a bad thing. How does grief show up in your poetry or like your artistry or like your content?
I've always, um, I've always wanted to say what wasn't being said. I've always wanted to be seen. I've always wanted to let other people know that I see you too. I the very first poem I wrote and shared was because of I was going through a breakup.
Mm-hmm.
Like the love of my life at that time, I was going through. I was 25 too, so it was like that quarter life crisis. But the first time I
Oh.
ever wrote a poem, I felt so liberated and so free. I was saying things I should not have been saying. At least that was my, you know, in my mind. It's like, oh, am I
Mm-hmm.
supposed to? Can I tell these people that? Can I? Am I allowed to be hurt? Can I talk shit about this dude? Like, can I let it go and say everything that I want to say? So that's how I got into poetry, was from a heartbreak. Um, and now, and I stopped. I still write poetry, but I don't do it as much because for me it just felt so heavy.
Yeah.
And I think poetry helped me work through those things that I couldn't make sense of, or just the things that I didn't want to carry anymore. And my life isn't that heavy anymore. My life is a lot of fun. I'm surrounded by people who appreciate me. I'm thankful. Things happen, but I mean that's life. Um, so now with comedy, which is a lot lighter, a lot joyful, I still talk about the same things, um, but I feel like the reach is a little bit more palatable. Like it's not a whole lot of metaphors and similes. Like I'm not trying to be like deep or secretive. Like sometimes I would
Mm-hmm.
write poetry and I would write it in a way to where I know what I'm saying, but I don't want you to know what I'm talking about. Um, But with comedy, it's just like, all right, well, what are we thinking? What are we feeling? Like, what are we trying to say collectively? And of course, I do that through my own personal experience. But my intention is to be able to see people, and have people see themselves in me, but still also release. Like, I'm always going to need a release, you know. As much as I say I do this for community, or I want to believe I do this for community, it's really for me.
Hmm.
But my intention or my reason why is what makes it sustainable. Like, I do it for me, but it's not all about me. Um, I do it because I know you would do it, or you would want to do it, or you would appreciate it if somebody advocated for you. And not
Yes.
specifically, but
Yeah.
that's what artists do. That's what creatives do. It's like, no, this shit is for me, but it's not all about me. I'm doing it because I love you too, you know?
Hmm.
And sometimes to a
That's
fucking fault. I love you to a fault. I love you to a fault, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Somebody got to do it.
that is accurate. I feel like creatives definitely do things because of them. Like this is for me. And I think that's why certain things that we create, or if not everything, it's so personal and special.
Yeah.
We kind of hold it so dearly because it's like it's really for me, but it's also for you.
And you know what I've learned through this whole thing? Doja, knock it off. This is an interview. We're doing an interview. We're on CNN right now. I don't know if you hear her. She gonna do what she want to do.
I hear
But
her in the background. I'm paying her no attention.
what I've also learned is, it's easier to let go when you choose to put it out there. Like for me, like anything that I hold, and like if you try to get it out of me, you may not. But once I say it, and it's like easy, like I don't care about any of the videos I posted on TikTok anymore. Like I've released it, it's
Yeah.
gone. It's
Hmm.
gonna do whatever it's
Yeah.
gonna do. It's easier to do that as a creative for me, instead of like being like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do this, or like, no, I did it. Now what? So,
That's a
but
form of
yeah,
release.
yeah. But it's kind of all for me. I hope you
Deacon.
enjoyed it,
Yeah. It's therapy.
and I love you.
Therapy.
Yeah, for sure.
Look, that's for the
Period.
people in the back. So,
I
like,
hate talking to my
what
niece. My
are you
niece would be
saying?
like, anywho, my bad.
I do that all the time. I do that. That's me. I'd be like,
I receive it.
so how does this experience of these niggas, that's what we're gonna call them, how does it form or shape the way you treat other folks?
Um, that's a good question. I never even thought about that, but because my intimate relationships are so different from how I move it through the world. Like I move through the world with love and light, allegedly. But I'm always kind. I'm always nice. I'm always making sure people are okay. Because I know my personality can be a little bit much. So I'm always like, I don't mind dimming my light. Like people be like, oh, I'm never gonna dim my light. Like I don't mind shrinking myself if it's appropriate. Because my real personality, it may be too much for some rooms, and I get that. So I move to the world, or I move through the world like reading the room almost. Um I don't know if my relationships dictate that. If anything, I know what I won't accept. I know how you won't treat me. Um, I know how I wouldn't treat you, but I don't know if my relationships dictate how I move through the world. But I'll have to think about that a little bit more,
Okay.
because there might be something there that I just haven't thought about.
What has surprised you the most, like about yourself on this journey?
I'm so resilient. Um, I'm so resilient, and I thought that everybody, like in my own little world, like even when I was going through like situations and relationships, I'm like everybody's going through this. Like this is how everybody lives their life. But come to find out, no, this isn't the standard or this isn't normal. Um, but I'm like, oh, this is normal, you know. But I think I'm impressed by my resilience. And I really do feel like I'm kind. I'm not always nice, you know. I can be very orderly, you know. I feel like sometimes things should be this way.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm a kind person, which is surprising to me sometimes. It's like, damn, you really are kind. I'm a sweetheart. Being kind to myself is like I'm impressed, but you know how they say this is probably like so cliche. I hate to be cliche, but sometimes you got to be cliche, right? Um,
Hmm.
being that person who you needed when you were like the little kid is so true. Like it's so true, and I
Mm.
think that it starts with being kind. It starts with the littlest things. It's just like okay, I love you. I went to this restaurant the other day, and I met up with my friend, and my friend who's in town for the weekend. She got up and she gave
Hmm.
me a hug, and there was this girl sitting at the table by herself, and she was just looking at us. And then I was kind of like being in my weird brain. I'm like, damn, bitch, why you staring? Why you staring? But when my friend gave me a hug, I was just like, you want a hug too? And she was like, yeah. So I gave her a hug, and I feel like that's just who I am. It's just like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm really a kind person. I try to be, not always nice, but considerate.
And that is all people are really supposed to be. Have some consideration for others. I think that's very important because she needed a goddamn hug.
And the fact that she was just like, yeah, and she was so excited, and her excitement made me
Yeah.
excited. And I was like, I was just joking, bitch. I was just joking. But because she gave up, she stood up and gave me a hug. It was like, yes, this is, it felt good. And I feel like she appreciated it. Appreciation goes a long way.
And then, like, you never know what people experiencing too. Like, you don't know how her day was going. You don't know
Yeah,
what happened to the person that was supposed to be meeting her there, or like, and
yeah,
she needed a hug right then and there.
yeah.
I think about stuff like that. I always think about like what people are experiencing. Like, why they by themselves?
A quick fun fact: they say that a person needs 13 hugs a day. Don't know how true it
Yeah,
is, but
and they're supposed to last like 30 seconds or something like that.
yeah, I love a good hug. I'm a good hugger.
Yeah.
Oh, these niggas, they fumble. I'm a good hugger. They. But anywho, I be hugging. I be hugging. Anyway,
To the niggas, he give good hugs, y'all. He can scrump some eggs.
and what
Uh,
else? And I got a cute cat
He got a cute cat who look like she got an attitude.
all the time.
Um, how well do you sleep?
I've never had a problem sleeping. Never,
That's
never.
beautiful.
Yeah, never.
Hmm.
Like insomnia, who is her? Never. Which I realize now, especially with my ex. Like I didn't know that that was an issue for people. Like I thought people like I can pick it up and lay it down. That's just how I move through life. Like, oh, am I tired? Like, okay, we're about to go to sleep. Body, we're going to sleep, but I sleep pretty good. Yeah,
Uh, I know insomnia well. That's my homegirl. That is my homegirl for real.
give her my number so I can
So
talk to her.
no, you don't want to talk to her.
No, I'm gonna say let my friend need some rest, and she gonna be like, all right, I
I
got
don't
you.
know. I'm
But
gonna pass
anyway,
you her phone number then, if that's the
yeah,
conversation.
yes, let this
How
man get sleep.
how well are you taking care of yourself at this time?
That's intrusive, but also relative. If I'm being completely honest, I am. I can take care of myself better. I'll say that. when it comes to food and what I put in my body, I'm intentional about that. Um, but there are some things that I can probably do without.
Hmm. Do you have certain things you do or ways to cope?
Yes, but I'm not saying what they are here. You know, should I say it? I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it.
Yeah, yeah.
My number one coping mechanism. I'm almost embarrassed to say it. I masturbate way too often. That's it. You know, I'm. I do other things as well, but I probably masturbate way too much. Yeah. Am I way too much? I'm not sitting at home doing it like 5 times a day. But there's some times where it's just like, you probably don't need to be beating your meat. So yeah, that's how I cope. Outside of like conversations with humans and friends and things like that and
Yeah.
enjoying life. But when I'm by myself at home, I probably could, and I'm an avid reader. I love to read books. I probably could like read a book instead of like beating my meat. Now I'm embarrassed.
Don't be though, because it's so true. Especially like when you be experiencing something or when you be like sad. That's a thing that people do.
Yeah. Put down the meat.
Put down the meat, or you're gonna be looking like Quagmire
You feel me?
with that one strong arm.
Oh my gosh. That's a whole nother conversation. One of my like I yeah. I feel you. I feel you.
So this is like, I don't know if this is like a funny question or is this is just like a weird question, but do you think people like grieve like dating apps, like when they delete them, and like, do you think people miss dating apps when they delete them?
If we I wouldn't say grieve, but
Yeah, not.
if we get technical, maybe it's a form of grief. But from personal experience, I
Mm,
can say that I'm an avid downloader, deleter. I don't really, yeah, I'll say yeah. I think people, I don't know if it's grief or boredom. I don't know if, I think
mm.
there's I think people want possibilities, like the what if, the curiosity. I don't know what it is about that, but I've downloaded, deleted. But I wouldn't go as far as to say people grieve dating apps.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's like the
Hmm.
what if, like maybe, like
Like maybe my husband is still on here. Maybe I need to download it real quick.
yeah, or maybe I do want my dick sucked. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't think I wanted my dick sucked, but maybe I do. Let me download the app.
yeah.
But unless you're talking about like the appropriate ones like Tinder or Hinge, but I imagine people want to get bust down on those too. I don't know.
Uh,
I think true love is best experienced in real life. Those dating apps are cool, but human connections, it's almost gonna be a lost art. People don't know how to fucking talk to you. You know how many people I see in real life who follow me on social media but be in my DMs but don't speak to me when they fucking see me walking down the street?
that's insane.
Yeah, like you can never talk to me, boo.
That is
Never.
insane.
Never. Do you want to suck my dick or no? Anywho. Just joking, just joking.
No, you okay? Okay. Allegedly,
Allegedly. I
we're
like
gonna play a
games.
game.
Let's do it.
Word association.
Okay. This should be fun.
So when I say a word, I want you to tell me where it takes you. And it don't have to be all extra deep, right? But the first memory I thought that comes to you from this one word.
Okay.
Okay. And it can be specific to grief, healing, or just letting go, or whatever comes to you. You ready?
think.
You think it hard. I'm gonna give you an easy word.
All right, I like it easy.
Healing.
A bath, a nice hot bath with some sea salt, essential oils, herbs, yeah, water. That's what I think about when I think about healing.
Do you take a lot of baths?
I do. I love a bath. I love taking time with anything, really, which I think is a big part of grieving. Is like time. Anything that take time, I'm here for it. Cleaning,
Hmm.
cooking, making things, using my hands. I love things that take time. But when I hear the word healing, a bath, relaxing, humans are made mostly of water anyway. So being whole and being one, like that's what I think about when I think about healing.
Outside.
Um, in it. For me, outside is just like it's really the like in the streets right now for me. Like I love being outside. Um, my friend is in town, which is probably why I feel that way. Like I love being outside. I love nature. I'm really a nature guy. Like if you like, I have plants galore. Um, but outside for me, it's just like being in the streets, showing up, not compromising who I am, but like showing up. It's just like, yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Yeah, I love outside. I'm a hood rat, I guess.
Mm, it's okay. We all got hoodish ways. Closure.
I don't believe in it.
Hmm.
I think it's overrated. I think that it gives away your power. Um, Nothing is ever done. I think that's why we learn. Like if I'm and I get it in theory, but for me, closure, like I think people want it or they expect it. But for me, it's just like, what can I take away from this? Every situation, you need to take away something from it. And is it really ever over if you've learned something and you can apply it to something else? So I think closure is overrated. And if you're waiting for closure, you are setting yourself up for disappointment. Like you already got it if that's the case. Like I don't think, but that's a whole nother conversation. It really, I
Oh,
was literally thinking about this the other day. Like it's overrated. Wanting closure or needing closure is so overrated, in my opinion. I'm not a professional.
I understand that though, especially like you don't get it most of the time
Yeah, if you can
in a
get it,
form that you
great.
may need it. You know.
Yeah, if you can get it, great. But the reality of it is like there's a part of whatever that you're gonna always carry that with you. Like so, it's just like, is it really closure or do you want validation? So, but that's a whole other conversation.
Uh, Boundaries.
Oh shit! I also think boundaries are overrated. Only because I feel like the sky is the limit. And for me, I think communication is important, but I also feel like I either fuck with you or I don't. If I'm setting boundaries, I I'm not allowing you to show up as you naturally are. So there's restrictions around who you are, and then two, every I think a boundary is to protect you, but like I don't always need to be protected from this thing. Maybe I just need to remove it from my life. Like the people who I love the most, there are no boundaries. They generally, or for the most part, or no, not even for the most part, like they respect me, they treat me well. Like if I have to set a boundary, you probably shouldn't be in my life. That's how I feel. But I can be a bitch, so like, but it's just like, why are we setting boundaries to have people in our life? Like, no, girl, bye. nice to see you. When you want to be a better person, come back around and I'll be here. But no, that's too much work. And I got to keep up with the goddamn boundary. I'm not going to remember all the goddamn boundaries I said. Like, no. Set myself up to be triggered. No, bye. Thank you. Or accept people for who they are. It's like, okay, I know I can deal with it. I'm tough enough, you know. But no, like, no, you either in or out.
Okay. Hmm.
Man, bye. Unless you my nigga. I'm just like, I need to set boundaries for these niggas.
But you don't believe in them.
I know, but I'm tough. I'm a big boy. You live, you learn.
Sunday dinner.
Mm, we need more. We need more. We need more. I love community. We need more. That's all I'll say about that. We need more. More Sunday dinners.
Okay.
More dinners, period. It can be a Tuesday. More dinners.
What have you learned about love and responsibility?
Oh, wow. Um, Love is all the time. It's not when you feel like you look good. It's not when you feel like you have something to offer. It's all the time. It's when you don't have what you think you need. Love is all the time and it's all around you. It's when you're by yourself. It's when you're with people. It's it's all the time. Love is all the time. Um, and I've learned to be accountable and be reflective. Love would do that to you. Like I think love is so transformative in so many ways, but love holds you accountable. But most importantly, like love holds you all the time. That's what I think about love. I love love.
Uh,
Not me being a poet. Let me stop giving these poet ass answers. Love is all the time.
love is all the time. And all the time, love is.
Love, love. Taking them church, taking them church.
So, what would you say to people having the same experience, specific to like artists, comedians, creatives, having a hard time seeing their light in like the midst of this?
I think that just speaking from personal experience, for me, I've always known that there was something special. I think that everybody has this thing. I'm imagining that everybody has this thing within them that's like the light inside or this fire. Sometimes it is big and it's flaming, and sometimes it's like real dim. But there's this thing that God placed in us, or whatever you believe in. You know, there's this thing within us all that's just like, no, this is the reason why I'm here. Like this is the fire inside. And just tap into that. It may be a lonely time or journey or space, but tap into it. And I think that sometimes we think that we've given it away and we're disappointed, or it goes with someone when they transition or when they leave our life, but we'll never not have what we need. But you just have to tap into it. So just tap into that thing. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it feels like to other people. But even
Hmm.
sitting here now, I can locate it in my body. Like I know where it is in my body. Um,
Hmm.
and I think we all have that. Like we all have that thing that makes us uniquely us. And
Yeah.
I would just say tap into that. But I've always had it. Like whenever, and I think that that's what helps me get through tough situations. It's just like remember you have this. If you don't have anything else, you have this. And for me, it's that fire inside. Like I can literally locate it. I can feel it right now. That's a great question. Thanks for
Hmm.
asking.
I never thought looked at it that way. Like locating it in your body, like
I can
exactly
feel
where
it.
it is.
I can feel it in my body. It's actually
Yeah.
getting bigger now. it's excited that you asked that question. Thank you.
Yeah, that's dope.
Mine is close to my heart. But anywho,
Right. Because then we'll be on the screen trying to locate mine.
my pinky toe. It's in my pinky toe today.
It's in my pinky toe. Um, before we close out, I always like to ask people if they have any final words.
I think that last question was perfect. I would say if people can take away anything from this, um, I would say whether you're grieving or not, anything that you feel that you're trying to navigate, it takes time. Um, what you don't know, you just don't know. Eventually, you'll get the answers you need through experience or through asking questions or through having conversations like this. Um, but when it's all said and done, whatever you need, you already have.
Hmm.
And that's just you being you. Like, start there and you get to be whoever you want to be. Not saying you're gonna be an astronaut because you got to be kind of smart for that, but you're not going to space tomorrow, boo. But you get to simply be you, and I think that's the beauty of life.
Goosby.
But not Gail. Hold on one second. Gail did just go to space. All right, wait. You can be an astronaut if you want to. Gail King did, but just be you. Just be you. Just be you.
Yeah,
Anybody can be anything, child.
that's accurate. It's definitely accurate now.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Gooseby. I enjoyed this conversation. I did.
Thanks.
And just thank you for being open and answering questions very, very, very truthfully and intimately.
What else I'm gonna do?
I just want to remind the people that I'm not your teacher. I've learned a lot from my own journey. And just remember how you grieve in the podcast is just where we share real stories, real pain, and real healing. So thank you for watching and listening. Deuces.
Peace. Thank you.